All right, welcome to today's stretching and workout. Today we're going to be doing 3 rounds. The first round is going to have 2 exercise sets, but we're going to include stretching with this today. So you'll be able to follow along, and we're going to go through each exercise/stretch one time. And we'll do that for approximately 10 minutes, and that will complete round 1. And that's going to include flat band shoulder absorption and flat band shoulder rotation, which I'll demonstrate and then provide some commentary for. And then after we do this stretching and basic shoulder manipulation technique, we'll go to round 2 and do 3 exercises there, and then we'll finish off round 3 with exercises 6 and 7. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate each set, and in between sets we'll have some nice imagery for city life. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and get our gear together and get ready for round number 1, and we're going to do some stretching. All right, it's a little bit windy outside today, so if it blows me over, don't mind me. All right, we've got our flat band, and we want it to be about shoulder width apart. And what we want to do is provide extension or tension right there, rotate, and then reduce. Add, rotate, reduce. We are absorbing with that moving shoulder, there. We're absorbing a lot of the resistance band as we pull our momentum closer, or as the band pulls that momentum closer. We stop the momentum with those muscles that we don't generally use at that specific angle. And because we're doing a light band, this isn't detrimental to our well-being. This isn't a high risk for injury or anything like that. That's what this exercise is for, is to rather strengthen these shoulders. All right. And then we'll go from midway. We can go from all the way above our head if we're able to, and if not, we can stay as high as we can go and rotate the band just like the previous reps. So as you can see, we've got that movement. We want to reduce. Right? Those are very weak muscles, and our shoulders aren't used to doing that type of movement. And that's where we tend to get injured, just doing our everyday things, like if we're in the closet lifting above and something heavy falls off the top shelf. If you're catching it, that's absorbing the momentum of that heavy box or whatever it is. And a lot of people injure their rotator cuffs, believe it or not. I saw a lot of people come into the PT clinic during clinical hours where they were doing everyday things, and their shoulder joint, their rotator cuff specifically, just tore. Okay, so we want to keep these strong, and this flat band stretch / exercise is a great way. So now we're doing shoulder abducted rotations of the shoulder cuff, all right, or the rotator cuff, the shoulder joint, the rotator cuff. I've never called it a shoulder cuff before. That's a first. All right, and then we can switch. We want to keep that elbow close to the hip. Now, this seems informal, and it kind of is. All right, we want to make sure that we're standing, a firm base. All right, I'm going to stagger my feet like I'm a quarterback about to throw the football from, about to run down the way to catch the mailman, or whatever the case. All right, we're stretching that shoulder. We're stretching the latissimus dorsi. We are flexing and extending the shoulder. The abdominal area is awakening, as well as we've incorporated some torso twist to begin with. And we're breathing while we do this. We're taking deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Anytime I'm doing some kind of muscular contraction, I'm generally breathing with it, all right? This is nice and easy. You'll do 7 or 8. Or 9 or 10 or 11 or 12, something like that. But basically, since we're doing one set, you're probably going to do 10 to 20 per arm. You want to do the same. Keeping that elbow tight. Feet shoulder width apart. Isolating everything else. It's nice and easy, and then we can stretch. I always love this movement. These are basic exercises that I would prescribe athletes. I would always prescribe athletes this type of exercise. Improving range of motion, improving neuromuscular firing at those specific range of motions, improving joint stability, all that good stuff. Alright, so the flat band can also be used if we're ever on our backs, stretching, or whatever the case. We can use that to stretch our lower extremities too. We won't need it for now. Alright, so this stretch is going to be for the glutes, the hamstrings, the IT band area, believe it or not. The outer portion of the leg. I'm going to keep the back straight, but I'm going to flex at the hip, and I'm going to slightly bend the knees, and I'm going to hang. So I'll eventually hang, if I can turn my angle here, and I'm just going to hang the arms down. I don't want to arch the back. Alright, I want to keep the back straight, and I'm just hanging down, and I am stretching those rear dorsal muscles. Alright, so the glutes, the bottom basically, the piriformis in a way, the piriformis. But now I'll kind of demonstrate here if we were to arch our back downwards. The range of motion changes to where we're able to touch the ground. You might be able to touch your toes or whatever the case. Keeping the legs as straight as possible. I like to keep mine slightly bent. I don't like to straighten mine all the way up. Alright, so this is going to be a torso twist, the upright torso twist, and we're just going to cross our legs over. We're going to do the best we can to do that, and we're just going to twist, and we want that right arm to be brought over the left knee, and we want that to be used to provide some torsion. Alright? Then we'll do it in the opposite direction. So we'll go for in between 15 and 20 seconds apiece. A really windy day, but it was really nice. It was about 75, 76 degrees. They were painting the field, so I had to stay relatively off of it. I did the best I could to sneak on the side here. Alright, so moving forward, we're going to move to our side. And you can lay with your arm as your pillow, or you can prop it up. Do whatever you choose, whatever you're comfy with. Alright, and we're going to rotate and abduct the hip and flex the knee. Alright, so we're just waking these. This is very similar to what we do with the hip manipulation, which is our bread and butter, if you remember, the I Motivate Me bread and butter. And we're just waking these muscles up. Alright, now we've been doing that for the entire beginning of the workout, but nonetheless, we're gonna stretch and move each joint. Use some resistance training. Here we are stretching the quadricep. All right, the front of the leg, the thigh. While simultaneously, we are stretching the hip flexor as well. Alright, so we're going to wake it up. Abduct. No resistance band. I'll tell you though, we can use a resistance band in the future with this exercise, and this would be a good way to do it. I think this would be a highly effective exercise. We could do something like maybe 10 to 12 reps with this, and then take the band off quickly, stand up, and then do 10 each way of the hip manipulation just to break yourself off. Like, that would be a really fatiguing combination, I feel like. And a lot of times that's that's what makes basic exercises so effective. If you can combine them, you know, you don't just do one to isolate one muscle group, especially if you're not looking for necessarily increasing your strength alone. If you're looking at, you know, cardiovascular fitness, if you're looking at metabolic fitness with your muscles and lower amounts of body fat, you know, we want to improve our physique. All right, so with this, we're going to do some more neuromuscular activation and stretching here. I want to awaken the abdominal area. Hip extenders, hip flexors, back extenders, back flexors, which would be your abdominal. See, we're extending, now we're flexing, extending, flexing. Your abdominals are crunching, they're shortening. All right, we can move the scapula, which are our shoulder blades in the rear, the chicken wing area. All right, we can just wake them up, just liven them. I'm just kind of going with this. This is something that I would incorporate in my workout alone. For me, I would run my wide receiver routes. I would run my quarterback drills. I would do my foot speed and agility drills. I would do 40-yard, 60-yard sprints, 80 and 100-yard sprints. I'm not doing a ton of them, but I'm doing enough. But I would incorporate something like this into my workout. And it just depends on how I feel. If I've got music playing or not. A lot of times lately I've just been going solo, which is different. It is a challenge when you're used to working out with music. Like when you're used to working out with music and then you choose not to. It's something else. I do enjoy working out with the tunes though. All right, so we go with the dog pose. It's a yoga pose. I like to take a lot of pressure off the vertebrae. And you can hold that pose for as long as you want. And then we're finished with round 1. Now we gear up for round 2 and get ready for exercises 3, 4, and 5. And what we have going on, clock lunges. Nice and easy. We start from the front, go to the diagonal and then to the side, and then back diagonal and straight back. And we're going to do 4 full rotations. All right, we want to stay squared up, always. Life is not always balanced. We've got to learn to find balance. Energy balance, balance with the force of gravity or the acceleration due to gravity of our body weight, you know, forcing us towards the ground. We need to maintain balance, and there isn't always balance in our lives, physically, emotionally, whatever, spiritually. And so we always want to try to focus on that balance. And training in those moments when we're not. That's why fighters don't like to be off balance. Being off balance as a fighter is a bad deal. Alright, so we're finishing up here. We reversed. I like to do that last rotation backwards. Alright, so we'll go ahead and move straight into exercise 4 and 5. All right, now this is going to be the kneeling shoulder extension, and we're facing forward, so we're gonna start halfway down, okay, and we're gonna go all the way through the entire shoulder extension. All right, we're gonna breathe in, now breathe out, contracting the rear deltoids. Scapula is retracting, so your rhomboids are contracting, your trapezius minorly. All right, so we'll do 10 facing forward, and then we'll face away. And that will start from the very top, right? And we want to allow, again, like normal, notice I just scooted up or scooted towards the camera a little bit, which allows for more resistance at the beginning or at the very top. Okay, so I want to allow, even if my range of motion doesn't allow me to go all the way up, I want to allow the band to pull my shoulders up, okay? It's going to assist. I'm not there, another professional's not there to assist you, but the resistance band can be that guide, all right? We want to use it to its full advantage and take our time. We're going to extend the shoulders from the very tippy top. So we're just completing. And notice I pointed to the front of my legs there because my hip flexors and my quadriceps were fatigued, because I wanted to maintain that upright position and not flex the hip or anything like that. All right, this is Purchase Street as you come out of the tunnel. You could turn left to go to Seaport District or towards Financial District. Straight ahead is South Station. I know my Boston. All right, and then we'll go straight here, and I'll leave you to it from here. I'll meet you at round number 2. And I know I said I'd meet you around number 2, but I meant 3 really. So we're going to do our last 2 exercises. All right, so we have exercise number 6, which is the hip extension with the loop band. All right, so we go ahead and set our loop band up. And we're going to go ahead and extend the left leg, the left hip. And we're just extending the gluteus maximus. Interestingly enough, we are extending the knee to a certain extent. We are applying force to the quadricep, or with the quadricep contraction, which is the front, or in this case, under part of the leg here, since we're facing parallel to the ground. All right, so we're going to do 20 reps of each leg. So we switch legs. All right. So if this were playing in my headphones, I'd be increasing the frequency right now. I'd be getting it in. I'd be doing it really fast. I'd probably do 35 or 40 instead of 20, and then I'd live to regret it the next morning. There is no feeling for me like delayed onset muscle soreness. Delayed onset muscle soreness. I love it. There's something about it. Alright, so we finished up. Now we're going to switch to the anchored back extension. Alright, since we're not going to be laying on the ground too much, we're going to try to avoid that for now. But that doesn't mean we can't improve our range of motion, improve our core strength. We can't improve our balance. That doesn't mean we can't do any of that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, anchor the band. Now notice I don't have my hands in either of the handles. I am below the handles in order to increase the amount of resistance. The starting position will be from here. It'll be from down. All right. We're going to slightly flex the hip and then extend the hip. And as we extend here, we're going to lock the glutes in place. All right. We're going to squeeze the bottom and then hold briefly. Squeeze, hold, and then reset. Boom, right there. And you'll feel it. You'll definitely feel it. So I'll turn around. All right. Starting position. Try to keep our back straight. And we are locking the glutes. We're flexing those muscles. And it's nice and easy. It's a nice 20 to 30 degree range of motion. Now I'm pointing at these muscles because we are flexing the hips and we're using resistance, so those muscles tend to fatigue. All right, so we're going to reset the equipment for the next set, and I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Again, that's Purchase Street. I've got a few different pictures of this same picture, just a few different times of the day. It's like Monet and the Rhone Cathedral or something. If you ever get a chance to research that, it's pretty good stuff. All right, so let's get ready and go for set number 2 of round 3.